saying that it promises to try and duplicate the Consumer Reports test to try and figure out if appropriate steps need to be taken.
The state of New Jersey, just one of many facing a budget crisis, and the budget brawls over where to cut, just beginning here now with more. New Jersey Governor Christie. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Becky. How are you?
We're good. You know now that they're calling you Ronald Reagan in the Wall Street Journal, Governor. Actually, it was a pretty good piece, and it goes over a lot of the things that you're up against. Number one, I guess we shouldn't be surprised at when a union official says that he wishes you were dead, right? I mean, what's going on with that situation?
Well, listen, it's just beyond the pale. I met with the head of the state teachers union yesterday, and I said, listen, you want to apologize, that's fine, but walk the walk. That person, the head of the Bergen County Education Association, should be fired. If a member of my staff had sent out an email like that about the head of the state teachers union, there would have been protests up and down the State House. And I expect there not to be a double standard. And if they really want to have a constructive dialogue with the governor, then, if you have people out there who are sending out prayers for your death, I think that's not an example to be setting for kids. Remember this, if a child had done that in a school, they would have been suspended at a minimum. There should not be a different standard for the head of these teachers unions than there are for everybody else in civilized society.
It shows you what you're up against, too. We got a total state budget, $29 billion, and a deficit of $11 billion, which you can see the problem there. There is a problem, but if you try to cut anything with education, you're going to hear you're hurting the children. Governor, you're hurting the children.
Well, listen, that has been an old song that is now just worn out, because this is the fact of the matter. The $820 million in cuts to school-age aid that I've proposed in the budget could be completely offset if the teachers union would accept a one-year pay freeze,
just
not a reduction, one-year freeze, and would contribute 1.5% of their salary towards their benefits. Now, for the average teacher who makes $50,000 a year, that's $750 a year. Interesting to note, Joe, their union dues, compulsory a year, are $730 a year. That get the union $130 million a year in revenue, $130 million a year. Maybe they should forego their dues for a year and get by on the $130 million they got last year if they really want to help their members.
How much are health care costs? I mean, the 1.5% of their salary that they're being asked to contribute, how much of the portion of the health care cost is that, Governor?
It's minuscule, Becky. I mean, this is for full family medical, dental, and vision coverage. That runs anywhere from $18,000 to $22,000 a year.
Have the teachers agreed to come back and try and work with you to maybe mediate some solution, or their stance is this is the sanctity of the contract and you can't take anything away?
Their stance is that's the sanctity of the contracts and can't take anything away. There's been 11 local teacher unions out of the 580 or so in New Jersey who have voluntarily agreed to a freeze, but that's only 11 locals out of over 580.
Do you think part of the problem is the approach, that maybe they weren't brought under the wing, or do you think that this was just an impossibility and this is the only way to get it done?
No, listen, I think that we've tried. We've laid out there how this can be done, and it would avoid teacher layoffs and it would avoid program cuts. And they just don't want to hear it. They've been used to now for 20 years getting their way on State Street in Trenton, everything they want with a $130 million budget. Listen, so far, just in the last month or so, they've spent nearly $2 million on advertising attacking me on TV and radio. This is the way they get their way. They are the bullies of State Street, but I'm going to stand up to them because this is a fight we have to have.
The state just keeps getting sicker and sicker as businesses exit, and the tax situation makes it almost, I'm thinking the Poconos are nice this time of year.
Well, Joe, listen. You know that in the last 4 years, the 4 years of the Corzine administration, $70 billion in wealth left New Jersey. Now, this is at the same time when over the last 8 years, we've raised taxes and fees 115 times.
Wait, $70 billion left the state coffers because businesses actually picked up and moved out?
No, $70 billion in wealth, Becky, left the state of New Jersey.
But that's because of the broader recession, the downturn.
No. This is not a loss of wealth, Becky. This is a departure of wealth.
These are actual businesses and
these are businesses and individuals.
Governor, also in the Journal, I couldn't help but read this article on Colorado Springs, which is maybe you need to go run for mayor of Colorado Springs when at the.
I got enough on my hands, Joe.
No, I know, but because at 4 years of this hammering and the money that's going to be spent to make you look like Simon Legree. it's going to be tough in 4 years. But apparently in Colorado Springs, the people in that city, they say the proper role of the government, paving streets, paying police and firefighters, and if there's anything left over, maybe a few parks. And that's all